All right, everyone. It is Friday, the 27th of January. Welcome to the Q&A with Alan and Marshall show. I'm Marshall Atkinson.
I'm Alan Howe with Easy Way.
And welcome to our little experiment.
3 years in the making of an experiment.
That keeps going. We're like the Energizer Bunny. We keep going and going and going, right? So
I wouldn't know what to do on Fridays without this.
Yeah, I know how you feel, right? You know, both of us, I think some days we have to miss because of travel and whatever.
Yep.
And let me tell you, last week we were at the Long Beach show, and if you tried to tune in, of course, we didn't have a show. So we appreciate that, I guess. But it felt weird not having a show.
It didn't feel like Friday, but,
yeah.
You and I saw each other that day, and I don't even think we even mentioned the show. We were both so busy. It was a great show.
It was a fantastic show, and we're going to talk all about it.
Yep.
But for right now, what we want you to do is, as people are jumping in, please tell us that you're here. Don't just be a lurker. Sign in, say good morning, say hello.
Yep.
And then let us know where you're watching from. It's always kind of fun to see what cities that people are watching the show from, because a lot of times it's not just the United States, it's other countries and stuff. So that's always kind of cool.
We had, Marshall, I saw our end of the year stats. We had over on our just audio podcast, which goes, we had over 500 downloads, and the majority of those were other countries.
Yeah, well, it's not everybody is in the right time zone to watch this live. Yeah. And I know that, we usually get a couple, 3 dozen people watching, but most of the views come later, right? So anyway, so please say hello. We want to see you and we want to hear from you. And we've got a couple people saying hello, so let's acknowledge them. So Sarah says good morning. Good to see you, Sarah. Thank you. Kim Johnson says good morning. Good to see you guys in Long Beach. I really love seeing you, Kim. I wish I could have hung out longer. I had things to do.
Same thing. It was great meeting you, and I know it was very quick in passing. So thank you for coming up and seeing me. So it was great.
Yeah, and Melissa's here. Good morning, LA today. Melissa. That's great. Good seeing you, Melissa. Yep. We were on the Rock the Boat together, hanging out. Right?
Awesome, great.
And then Cindy's here. Good morning, Cindy.
Hello.
And Glenn's here. Hey, guys.
Hey, Glenn.
Yeah, he was AWOL today from our meeting. That's okay.
Yes, we missed you, Glenn.
We now we have ammo to give him crap later. So.
That's right. We can do it publicly. Public shaming happens.
Charles is here from New Mexico. Good seeing you, Charles. That's great. Yep, and then James Ruby says hello from Florida. We're in Florida.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
I'm from Tallahassee, so it's good to see another Florida.
And I just want to be in Florida just because it's freezing up here in Michigan.
Well, you live there by choice, so I don't know what you're complaining about.
Bad life decisions. Story of my life.
Yeah. So anyway, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we can't wait to mix it up about some things. And but before we get into that, let's pay some bills, right?
James says he's from Vero Beach.
Vero Beach. I like Vero Beach.
Right on the Atlantic side.
Yeah. So anyway, so here's a promo from GSG, our sponsor, who's really awesome. So we appreciate them.
We're busy. Their booth was. So yeah.
GSG, the combination of over half a century of knowledge with industry-leading technology and the customer at the center of everything that we do. Graphic Solutions Group is a powerhouse distributor of traditional screen, sign, wide format digital printing, embroidery, and textile decorating. We are committed to our customers, providing support, educational, and consulting services. Your success is our success. We've seen these industries grow and change in our 70 years. One thing never changes: GSG's dedication providing the best products and services available. We've been around, we'll be around, from the highs and the lows, standing right here with you. GSG, the right products, right away.
You know, it's interesting to me on that video, they say the highs and lows, and they're decorating some tiny little shirt for like a dog, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, so huge thanks to GSG. And by the way, if you order from GSG and you talk to anybody, please do us a favor and mention that you watched the show, because you know, we kind of like that, right? So
you know, it was funny, not funny, but it was encouraging. I had a message before the show from GSG that they were sending a person over to meet me, and he was from the East Coast, from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And way out of their area, I get talking to him, and he said he was ordering from another company out west, you know, just more of an online company, moved all his business to GSG. And I said, how'd you hear about him? He goes, from you and Marshall. Watches Q&A, never live. He downloads and watches a recap. Has been for 2 years.
Well, we have a lot of people that do that. That's not surprising.
And so he had never met anybody. You know, Beth Wolf was in charge of marketing. Mark Ranberry weren't. I couldn't see them, but Mark Soldonic was there and talked to him. So, yeah, when you order from them and you hear about it from the show, let them know.
Yeah, it's great. So Cindy says, I love GSG.
Yes, you do.
We know that from you. And then Melissa says, good morning.
Yep, from Kentucky.
Yeah. I can't, you know, I'm going to see them. We're filming an Adventures in Apparel decorating episode there with her and Heather. So
in Cave City.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I've been to that shop on there. Well, great.
I haven't. It's going to be fun. That's
Cave
coming
City,
up.
Man, it is in Gardens.
When is that coming up? Isn't it next month? I think it's next month.
Take them to Mammoth Caves.
Yeah. So Glenn says GSG is a great company.
Yes, they are.
We agree. And Sarah says, I watched the Shirt Lab workshop on screens or equipment yesterday, my screen department head. It was awesome. And now we have some new projects to work on. So Sarah, can you specifically give us some feedback on what you learned and what you're going to be doing? I think that would really be awesome. We want to know what you're working on. Besides
the speakers' inadequacies.
Well, not the host. Yeah. Anyway, so no, Alan did a fantastic job. You know, so
thank you.
Really, Shirt Lab really appreciates not only Easy Way, but you, Alan. You really
appreciate it.
So.
And you know what? It was a great subject. It's something I'm passionate about. It's what a big part of my career is about. So
yeah,
glad to do it. And those are high points, Sarah. Like I said, contact me, reach out if there's any questions. And yeah,
we can't tell you're passionate. It's hard. I'm kidding. All right, so
but you know what, Marshall? It's things that I do even when I'm out in the field. So I have to go do a changeover on a big automatic reclaim for chemical. They're cleaning out their machine, doing all the stuff. But first thing I'm going to do, and we talked at the show, said, look, this all will work, but you got to have your screen correct, because it doesn't start without that. And I will do an exposure test before I'm there.
Yeah, right. Good. Love it. All right. Hey, elephant in the room time, right? What is everybody talking about? They're talking about the show, right? So if you went to the show, and I know a bunch of you people did, so we would love to know what you saw, what you heard, what was the experience, what was the highlight, what did you miss? You had a little FOMO, right? We want to know all that. So what we want more than anything are comments. And of course, Alan and I have our opinions, but our opinions only go so far. We want to know what your opinions are.
You know, right? My whole career, I've held my opinion to myself always.
Yeah.
Glenn Shaw has known me for 30 years, so he just had a stroke on that lie.
Yeah, right. So Alan, while we're waiting for people to type all that stuff in, what did you think about the show? Where are you on it?
Well, this is one of the first shows in a while for Impressions that I was not actually speaking at. And nothing against impressions. I just didn't submit anything this year. I had a lot of people ask me, they go, they didn't choose you. I said, no, I didn't submit anything. So, and
It's like a lottery ticket, Alan. You know, you're not going to win unless you buy a ticket.
It is. I knew that. But you know what? For not speaking, I don't know that I've ever been this busy in an impression show. I could not leave the booth like I normally can to go see stuff. It was it was incredible. So the little bit I did get out, I saw lots of stuff. Everybody was talking about automation in some sort or new market. I saw companies, I know that are some things I can't say, but I know of a shirt company that's going to bring in a new promotional shirt here in the next year to the market. I have seen the samples, pretty impressive. I saw lots of DTF. We have a comment on it there. M&R had their branded one out. A lot of DTF. Yeah. I saw a lot of digital. M&R with their Polaris, Oval Jet, a lot more of it. Auto reclaim everywhere. Laser.
Yeah, Blue Water made its debut.
We did. I don't know how we're going to handle the manufacturing. If
you guys were mobbed. I went by your booth.
Unreal.
What, 3 times, twice? I don't know how many times I go by there, and every single time, I bet you there was 30 people in your booth, all looking at, the Blue Water, or just talking Easy Way products and stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not just another auto reclaim. It is a different model of how to reclaim automatically, and it's very exciting. But all that to say, it's all about automation. Same thing like Dean said, any input on the M&R DTF launch, I felt that they handled it very professionally. They did. M&R had a bunch of new equipment there. They had the new Rival. They had their new DTF. They had their Polaris there in public for the first time. You know what? I heard some good and bad about it. And you know what? We need to take a moment. Peter Walsh is not on here, looks like he normally is. If you didn't see, Peter's brother passed away. He'd been fighting cancer. He lived in Oregon. So Peter, our condolences. Yeah. And then we also lost an Academy member. We knew she was doing bad, Nancy Gray. Right. So, but M&R was huge with a lot of new stuff, a new look. Kiwo had their new laser. I love that Stretch Devices, Newman roller frame, had a booth. They had prints up from Josh Wiley, who's on here.
They were all back behind rock
in the atrium. Yep, but I guess it went good.
So Dean, by the way, I came by your booth to look for you, and you were having a sandwich or something. You weren't there.
Dean wasn't at the show.
That's why he wasn't there. So anyway, I came by the booth and talked to Brian and the other guy, I can't remember his name, but it was anyway, it was good. And but the M&R thing, they had a huge crowd there, and actually that's where I saw Kim Johnson. We were kind of there at the same time, and I had somebody show us the ropes on it, and it was very interesting. So we'll just see where that goes. They didn't have a price, and they weren't taking orders. It was just basically, here it is. What do you think? And so it's going to be very interesting for them to roll this thing out. There was a lot of interest in it, and it looked really good. It's typical M&R looking machine, right? So we'll see how they do with it, and very excited for them to jump into that. And I think the whole DTF thing, I think it needs more bigger players to really make it the impact that I know it's going to have. So when, Epson does theirs and Roland does theirs, and Brother's going to probably come out with one, and, that's really going to help the supply chain and all that stuff. So I think it's just going to be pretty exciting to see where that goes in the next year or two.
Well, and like I said, the more the bigger players are getting into it, it's going to help propel that. They're going to, bring it from early adoption. And I still think everybody has to remember they're figuring it out too. They're putting everything in place, and the markets are still trying to be figured out. Is it a fit for you? Is it on demand? What is going on? And you have to do that. So these things are still shaping, but that's the exciting part about new technologies. I had the conversations with people. Of course, I've heard this for 30 years with digital, and with direct to garment. Is it going to replace screen printing? No. Am I worried? Nope. It is another profit center. You need to still know your market, your profit, and what is your business plan, just like with anything. I was a guest on Dean and Brian Walker have a thing called DTG Daily, and I was a guest on that, and we discussed that. Got to know your markets and what to do. So.
Right, and I taught a class on. It was 160 people in my DTF class that I did with David Slagle, and I want to show a slide that I think really stop that. Hold on. And all right, so can you see my screen?
It's white.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Hold on. So this is screen printing. Screen printing is a lion. It's the king of the jungle, right?
Okay.
This is DTG. It's a cheetah. It's a different animal than a screen printing because it's faster, right? It's completely, but you know what? It's not going to replace the lion. It's not going to replace the king. Okay. What do you think DTF is, Alan? It's a little kitty cat. Okay. And DTF is a kitty cat. Okay. And here's why is because, there's about 700 million cats in the world, right? There's only 20,000 lions left.
Right.
Okay. And the important part I made in my presentation is the fact that your success with DTF isn't about you being replacing the king of the jungle. You can be your own little kitty cat and make tons of money. Okay. Yep. You don't have to try to replace screen printing, and DTF isn't going to replace screen printing, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of the thing that I said during the presentation is that, DTF is what it is. It's his own animal. Okay. You can't compare it to screen printing. Is it screen printing? No. Does it feel like screen printing? No. Will it replace screen printing? No. Right. Well, can you make tons of money with it? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the point. So anyway,
and like with any of it, whether it's
I'd share that.
No, I love that. Whether it's DTF, whether it's DTG, whether it's screen printing, you can make tons of money with any of them. But you have to still know your market, know your cost, know your business plan with any of them.
Right.
You don't have that, you're screwed.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's where we are with that. So,
yep. But DTF definitely dominated a lot of the show. It was there. But the best part was it was packed. There were people there. You had 160. You had in your with the one with Davis, you had over 100 in your other one. I know Charlie Talib, he said for the first time on a workshop, which is all day, over 100 in a screen print one. That is massive. None of these markets are dying and killing each other.
So to me, this is something that I want to kind of hit on here is like the other trade shows, when they decide to not have education tracks, right? I feel like, they do their own thing, but I feel it's just a gigantic mistake.
Right.
Because as an educator, it's appalling to me, right? That like Printing United didn't have education, right?
It's criminal.
And talking from the stage isn't education. That's the view, right? I want them to have classes where people can learn a technique, learn some theory, learn how to make profit, or how to use Instagram, or how to do vintage embroidery or whatever, right?
Yep.
I think it's so important because everybody comes at this from different places on their journey. And what does Kitson always say?
We just don't know what we don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And so our job at trade shows is to teach these people these things, right?
Yep.
And so I think it's really important that trade shows, trade shows are about three things. It's about networking with your tribe, finding your people, right? It's about taking classes, and it's about the new gizmos and products and stuff, right?
Yep.
When you only show the new gizmos and products, you're letting everyone down. And I think Impressions did a fantastic job of educating, because the classes were standing room only. There were only, it's just amazing, right? So,
and it was back to being international. There were some of our friends internationally wasn't there, but I know for Easy Way, we had dealers from New Zealand, from Australia, from the Philippines. There were people from Turkey there, I saw. England, and it was incredible.
Exactly. And let me tell you, when I teach my classes, I'm there early to set up just to make sure the tech works. There's nothing worse than things not working.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm always like asking people as they're coming around, where you're from, and who traveled the farthest, right? And I had people from New Zealand, I had people from Alaska, had people from Canada, every state in the union. Okay. Hawaii, it was really good to see people make the effort, right? And so that was kind of fun. So
yeah, and it was good. It felt like shows before COVID. I know the biggest class I had speaking would have been over 100, like 105, something like that. And I consider that huge for me, especially at the same time speaking was Greg Kitson and Mark Coudray, who both had 150 and 120 at the same time.
Yeah.
Education is still it, and the other shows are missing it.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll do something. I don't know.
I hope.
All right. So we got some comments. So Dean says he was MIA. Sorry, I missed you, Alan. We'll connect the face as soon enough. Had a great IGT, had a great show as well.
Yeah.
Sarah says we also learned some tips on printing plastisol ink. We were using too much pressure.
Yeah. So these are all tips that came
from the workshop yesterday.
From the workshop I did, and those are just like when I teach at a show and stuff like that. It is very much like that. I am not a super high end guy. Like I don't do business stuff like Marshall does. I'm not super high end like Mark Coudray and some of them. I am a fundamental guy on screens and helping your processes in screen printing. It's what I do. Yeah. And this is what education does. You knew how to do a screen. You know you have a shop going. Now it's about tweaking it. Yeah. What are the things we just don't know, or maybe we've forgotten, or man, I didn't know about this. Yeah.
Exactly. That's good. Yeah, Alan, you're the chicken wing beer kind of guy. That's your crowd.
Except I don't drink beer, but that's all right.
Yeah, well, you drink vodka. It's the same.
I do drink vodka and wine.
So Glenn says, I read this morning, are you jetting adhesive? Any thoughts on that? I like the idea of removing the powder from the process. Well, the problem to me with inkjet adhesive is, putting glue through a nozzle. To me, that just doesn't make sense, right? And
well, Glenn,
I think a better way of doing it is to have the adhesive and the powder in some sort of cartridge or something that you can slide in, so it doesn't become a health factor for your employees.
Yeah,
or a closed containment system or something seems to be a better thing, right? So
yeah, Glenn, I'd love to know from you. You not only have a huge screen printing background, but you have worked for Nazdar Digital and worked for Ricoh. I mean, I'd love to know your thoughts on an adhesive through an inkjet. That concerns me a little bit. This is new, a new technology to a newer, to a newer technology, and we don't know.
Yeah,
I like the thought of removing powder because there is some health detriments that's never been addressed. Yes.
I don't think you need to remove the powder. I just think you need a delivery system needs to be refined. And Also, with the adhesive, when it's clear, you can't tell that it actually was printed. So if you're going to print
Right.
adhesive, it needs to have a slight tint or something so you can tell it's actually on there. Right?
Yeah, and there's only one machine that has that, I believe.
Yeah.
The liquid.
So, all right.
M&R one.
Josh says, good morning, fellas. Good seeing you, Josh. Saw
Josh
Josh at the show and at the Shirt Lab Mastermind dinner, which was what is this, the 4th year we've done it. That was just an amazing event. So really
And Josh,
happy to see him.
You weren't on. We talked about stretch devices. Josh had prints in the stretch device booth.
Mhm.
So nice job.
Yeah. Dean says, love that slide. Beautiful representation. That was my slide, Dean.
That was Marshall's.
But Alan will take credit, I'm sure.
Definitely.
And Charles says the best thing you do at the show is to go to the education. Exactly. Glenn says education at the show is value.
Yep.
Dan says pop. I guess he's here. Thanks, Dan. I've talked to some other shops who have tried that glue through the jet DTF, and it clogs all the time, and they're spending hours every day cleaning it. Yep, I know. I've heard that through various people, and I think that's the reason why I think the powder for DTF is going to be the de facto standard. I just think they need to figure out how to make it, because you don't want to be inhaling glue, right? That doesn't make any sense. And because the glue, the powder is like the consistency of really fine, like talcum powder, right?
Yeah,
it's
like confectioner sugar almost.
So it's gonna, like, if you dump it in, you ever like dump flour into a jar, you got all the stuff that comes up, but now it's not flour, it's glue, right? So you don't want to be inhaling that.
Yeah.
Right? Dan says adhesive can be done, but the sacrifice is more maintenance, and that is the Achilles heel of our industry.
And you know what, with adhesive, cleaning it out, what are you cleaning it out with? Because you can't go too aggressive on the solution, because that will also damage a printhead.
Yeah, right. So, it's a fine line. And let me tell you, as these companies make these machines, they're going to experiment and launch stuff that may or may not work as well. And they're going to make things better. And nothing exists in a vacuum, nor does anything stay the same. It's here's a different iteration. Let's go. Right. So, all right. A couple more comments. That one machine that's jet adhesive is still a mess, and part of the backlash that Imager is getting. It'll eventually come to reality. Give it some time. All is still too new. Also, sorry about the slide credit. It was great, Marshall. Hey, no problem. Glenn says there are several print heads in the industrial space that are built for adhesive. Glass frit?
Yeah. Frit
is that a real word? Frit?
It is. Glass
and
frit
high solid fluids, they are pricey.
Yeah. So Marshall, glass frit is a type of ink that goes on glass that has to be baked and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and that's what I thought these were out there. Glenn would know. So you know what? Is the technology there? It's now implementing it, and it's not going to be cheap.
Yeah. Right. So Mario says, hello, boys. We just invested in an Oki laser and are diving into hybrid water-based transfer, supercolor style. Great.
That'd be interesting. Oki Data was here, and they kind of peaked and dropped. I don't see a lot of them anymore.
Yeah. Well, Mario is overseas, right? So maybe it's more prevalent over there. So
he's in Slovenia. So yeah, Mario, keep us informed on how that's working out for you. That'd be great.
And Dean says printhead technology is what controls the progress of digital printing. Have to start there.
Agreed.
Yep. And James says we missed the show this year. We're a small 10-person shop. However, this year we implement a new bonus system that encourages additional training in and outside departments. Aside from the training at ISS, where can we find opportunities for my team in screen print, embroidery, and sales? 100% Shirt Lab Tribe. ShirtlabTribe.com. Sign up. $97 a month. It's for 100% of your employees.
Yep.
So, and there's we have several tribe members on here, so they can attest the value there. But we do stuff all the time. We have a live Q&A every single Tuesday. Lots of we have a platform where you can ask questions, like more videos than you can watch. Okay, so like get in there and get going.
And all the things like the one I just did yesterday, those are all there in the archive. So tribe members get to view them anytime.
Yeah. So here's the link right here, shirtlabtribe.com. And thank you for our sponsors, by the way. So can you say that website again? Yes, shirtlabtribe.com. Let me leave it up there for a minute. So anyway, so we do a lot, and we have a couple virtual events coming up. We have a 30-day sales accelerator that we've been working on. That's going to be a course. And then we also have our Shirt Lab Summit that's coming up in April. Our live event is going to be in July this year in New Orleans. And Mike Michalowicz is our keynote speaker. He has a new book coming out, and it's going to be about employee hiring and retention. So he's going to be in depth about all that. So it's going to be fantastic. And
when is the event in New Orleans?
So last weekend in July, I want to say it's like the 28th, but I need to actually look that up on a real calendar to tell you. Hold on. It's going to be the 29th. There you go. I'm wrong. It's the Saturday, the 29th.
Mike McKellar.
And information coming from that soon. We're redesigning we're actually building a website. We've got a lot of stuff going on right now with Shirt Lab. So
always the best speakers, man. Mike McKellar, it's right there. It's just the price of admission.
Yeah. So we've got a great lineup for Shirt Lab Live this year. But one of the things we're doing are redesigning our format where it's not just like lectures where you hear people. There's going to be action items that you're doing while your butt is in the seat that's going to make a difference. So you have things accomplished before you leave. And we're really working hard on changing that and pushing the boundaries as to what education in the industry looks like. So more information on that as we push it out, right? So, all right. So, and Charles agrees, Shirt Lab Tribe is worth it, right? Thanks.
Absolutely.
All right, Cindy's got to leave. Thanks, Cindy. See ya. And I'm in the business now for selling DTF at our shop for smaller orders, but I still can't love DTF only because of the feel. In reality, it's not as soft as screen print, and neither is DTG. I don't think that either will ever be a replacement. It has a place. Small orders can build a great business on many small orders at a higher markup for lower quantity. So it's a good thing, just not going to replace screen printing. Here's what I'll tell you, Dan, is that a lot of customers are not screen printers. So if you look at it through the lens of screen printing, it's never going to measure up. Your customers are the ones that matter, right? And I can tell you anecdotally from doing this for a while with DTF that a lot of customers absolutely don't care about the same things that you do.
Yep.
And they just want a great looking shirt and they get it by Friday. Do some of those customers care about the hand feel and all that stuff? Yes, 100%. Okay. A majority of them don't. Right. And a case in point is my own kid who's grown up in this industry. How many t-shirts do you think that kid's seen? Right. His absolute number one favorite shirt is a digital transfer of Kobe Bryant on a black t-shirt. It feels like somebody glued a piece of paper to it. He doesn't care. He wears it every week. It's his favorite thing. It wasn't screen printed. He doesn't care, right?
Yep.
So I just think that for some people, yeah, it's a big thing. I totally get it. For a lot of people, it isn't, right? And so it's just a matter of what does your customers expect and want, right? And that's the big question. So
yeah, I heard the same thing, and I was like that when DTG came out. It feels different. It feels that and all that. And you're right. The end user, most of them just don't care.
Right.
Again, we're back to find the market, know your market.
Yeah. All right. More.
Did we say hi? Ghosta popped in. I don't know if we acknowledged him farther up.
Oh, I think we did, but if not, hey, Ghosta.
Ghosta from Uppsala, Sweden. So yeah.
Yeah. So does Shirt Lab Tribe cover HSA screen printing? If not, we're a good place to find more info. We're given numerous shots at HSA and struggle with maintaining opacity. We're an 8-head single auto. We use Magna for our discharge and HSA inks.
Yeah.
So that would be a great question for our Shirt Lab Tribe Q&A. We have numerous people that print with water base. You could ask questions there and get answers from people who actually do it. We probably should do a workshop, maybe with Jesse Martinez or Ray Smith. I know that we were talking.
Yep.
I was talking with Ray at Long Beach about doing a thing at the Aviant Labs, maybe before Printing United, and so we're working on maybe doing something. But if you're into best practices and stuff, what we can do is we can maybe find you some help, right? So it's just jump in and get busy, right? But a lot of the Shirt Lab Tribe stuff is sales, marketing, some operations, but we do get into specific things. We haven't done it. We haven't covered HSA water-based screen printing, right? That's not something we've got a detailed thing in, but that doesn't mean we can't create it. So,
yep. And James, that's stuff we can point you in the right direction to before that comes up too. So,
yeah. Marshall made me realize that the customers don't care like we do, that this is what needs to be considered. They just want the end product that looks nice, hard-hitting reality. Right? It is. Adam's here. Hey. So you aren't your customer?
Yep, exactly.
Hurley says, howdy, fellas. A little late to the party. Good seeing you.
Marshall, I was talking just a little thing that, I see prints as a screen print guy different than everybody else. I can pick out a flaw in most any print. Yeah. And my nephew has figured this out. He's going to be 15 next month. And he has a great sweatshirt he bought and all that. And it's a great print. But he kept bugging me going, Uncle Alan, he goes, so go ahead. We know what you do. With this one, you said it is an awesome print. He goes, what's wrong with it? And I kept telling him, I said, Miguel, do not ask me to do that. Because once I show you what I see, you can't unsee it.
It's like, have you ever seen the Kentucky Fried Chicken logo with the big head of Colonel Sanders?
Yes.
And they got the bow tie. And then once somebody points out that the bow tie looks like a stick figure, that's all you see from then on.
Yep, exactly. So I finally did. I said, all right, Miguel. And I said, the white is showing from underneath, and it looks like the pressure was too much on the upper left-hand corner. And he goes, how do you do that? I showed him how it's pulling up. And it's not that it's out of register. It's just on top of it. It's that little white. He is so mad now because he can't unsee it.
Yeah.
I said, he goes, do you see it? I go, I can't not do it. Right. But I said, I look at it one way. I go, you look at it from here.
Yeah.
He didn't care before.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, don't ask me to do that again because you will not be able to unsee it.
Right. So Dan says true about the heat transfer, right? For smaller custom orders, I see that. I don't see it for retail. Disney is more likely not going to be selling DTF shirts, for example. So here's what I'll tell you about that is that over the summer, my son Jack, he's a college freshman. He wanted some new shoes. So we went to Dick's Sporting Goods, and like any t-shirt printer, while he's walking around trying off shoes, I'm over there in the t-shirt scoping it out, right? Yep. And I see Nike. Here's a DTF shirt. Here's a DTF shirt. I was like 20 something transfers I saw on different things. And I actually took a picture of one and posted it on my Instagram. You can see it. And it was really large. It was a good 13, 14 inches transfer. Felt like a piece of paper stuck to the shirt. Yep. And it was the back of some dude's head that had like tie-dye hair coloring with the Nike swoosh in it. Okay. They're selling that for $30, 100% transfer, photographic, no halftones. Could they have screen printed that? Sure. But they did transfers. And let me tell you, if Nike's doing stuff, I guarantee you Disney's not far behind.
I agreed 100%.
Okay. So why did they use transfers? I don't know. I'm not Nike, but I can tell you that that's what it was. And so it's one of these things where, we all assume that we know. And Dan, I'm not, you're an expert and I love you, right? But, I think until you go to the park and see what's in the gift store, we don't know what's there.
Yep, right? Absolutely.
So,
I agree.
All right. So Glenn says, don't let autobiographical perception get in the way of solving a customer problem or need.
Yep.
have to use the tools the right way and do it right for your business model and keep your business growing is all where there's room for all of the above, right?
Yep.
And also Dato and Dan Campbell, they will and they already do. They use every form of apparel decoration, right?
All right.
And Charles says, I've seen some horrible shirts at Disney in their shops. Horrible.
I've seen horrible shirts everywhere, and they sell.
Yeah. So we are way pickier, right? That's my favorite thing to do is to go to some place and start looking at stuff. I was in, where was I? I was somewhere in Orlando once at a gift store looking at their merch. And I was like, pulling the shirt apart. And this clerk came over and she goes, can I help you? And oh yeah, I was checking the shirt out. I was like, what are you doing? And I was like explaining what I was doing. And she goes, who are you? And my friend goes, he's the t-shirt police.
Yeah.
So, all right. And so we've got 3 other topics plus a thing for GSG we got to get through.
Let's go.
What are we going to ignore here? Let's just get the pulse out of the way real quick, and then we can get into some other things. Okay. So, whoop, there's my calendar.
That's not it. If you're wondering what Marshall has going on, there it is.
So, all right. So today we wanted to share some wide format stuff. So the GSG Pulse, this right now up on their website at gogsg.com is their sign version of Pulse. We couldn't find the one for apparel decoration.
It's not coming out till March.
Show the sign version and talk about the Roland TrueViz wide format printer. So what are we looking at here, Alan?
So Roland, of course, is a manufacturer of wide format digital printing. And why is this important to apparel? Because it's another profit center. I have a ton of customers that are apparel printers that have a Roland wide format. Adam McCauley's listening right now. Sandlot Sports, you can get all your shirts and stuff screen printed and all your heat transfer stuff. And you want a banner, they got it. They have a Roland wide format. B&D Classic Embroidery actually has a TrueViz. It is running all the time. And I'm seeing more and more TrueViz out there with the CMYK than I'm seeing the other ones. They do some spot colors too, but this is another profit center. Don't think because we talk screen, we talk this, that it's all about profit centers. That's what DTF is. That's what Roland's are. And GSG is one of the top Roland dealers out there. They had it at the show in Long Beach. And if you're looking for another profit center, I guarantee your customers are getting banners somewhere. Yeah.
So anyway, so go to gogsg.com and check it out. This is their Pulse, which is on their banner. And I think this is, what does it say? Page 5.
Yep.
Right? So anyway, that's that.
I wish I knew more about them. I don't. We are far from an expert on it, but I do have clients that they all have some sort of digital printer there.
Right. So let's go to the next topic here, which is really about new directions.
Yep.
And I'll tell you the thing that I'm hearing constantly, it's like almost a mosquito in your ear, is online stores. Right. And of course, everybody's got new directions, but I'm going to tell you the shops that I talk to at Long Beach, to my personal clients, everybody is moving lots of effort into creating online stores for their customers. There's a lot of platforms. I'm not going to mention any here, but I think if you're not currently doing online stores for your customers, this is something that you really need to be looking at. And it's because this is what makes you sticky to them.
Yep.
And there are some really fantastic tools out there that can really do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So it isn't quite such a burden. And let me tell you, if you're a smaller shop where everybody wears lots of hats and you don't want to get into online stores because you just don't have people, let me tell you about how a lot of people are doing that with using a form like Typeform or Jotform to get the basic information in, and then they outsource the bill to a virtual assistant. and then they've got a web store for their client, and the shop owner didn't touch the thing.
Yep.
Okay. It's just about getting a template set up, getting what you need to do built so you can make more money. You can get an easy way that you can solve problems for your customer that's frictionless, and you can get more frequent orders in your house. And I think an online store is a perfect way to do that. That's what I'm hearing a lot of right now. So, Alan, what besides an online store, what are you hearing?
Well, online stores are a necessity, especially for your customers. If you're not doing them, you do need to look into. What did David Slagle say? He has over 800 going.
Over 800.
Unthinking real. Yeah, new directions I'm seeing is, again, like I said at the show, people are looking to automate. People are looking for new markets on there. And this new directions I love new directions of tightening up processes in screen room. I feel like I'm a broken record because I say the same thing, but it excites me. And I'm glad when people are doing that, because that is the new direction. If you're going the same direction that you've always been, then eventually you're out of touch.
I don't think I've ever heard you talk about a screen room ever before. Are you sure?
Never. It's what I do. I don't know much else.
Right.
But because, what do we say? It all starts with the screen. Actually, it starts with art.
Let me tell you, if you want different results, you have to do things differently.
Absolutely.
Right. And what got you here, it may not be working right now. Right. So what else are you going to do? What are you going to try? And I think one of the things is just looking at your processes and looking at automating things. And also, there are tools out there, software tools or virtual assistants or different programs for marketing or, whatever, right? That can be doing things for you so you can get more done in the day with less labor. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. It is about always change. And we have a tendency to stay in our lane. And that lane always has to change. There are curves, and if you go off the curve and are not staying in that lane as it goes around, you're going to be left behind.
Yep. So I got some good comments.
So the new directions are not always new directions. They're always there. You just got to go in them.
They could be new to you.
Yep.
Exactly. Your new direction could be something that's 30 years old. It's just new to you, right?
Yep.
All right. So Ghosta says he has an old Roland and he's liking the new bag ink system on the Roland printer.
Bulk ink, correct. Good job.
So Heather says online stores are a must.
Yep.
Got the whole family on here today.
Yeah, exactly. Heather, thank you so much for the encouragement after the seminar yesterday and the text you sent me. I really appreciate it.
And Glenn left. So thanks, Glenn.
Glenn, glad to see you.
Online stores, biggest tip I can share, use a platform that has no monthly fee, especially if you're a small shop. They work on taking a very small percentage of sold goods. They're out there. Really helped my business when COVID hit. I'm happy to share my choice if anyone wants it. Thanks, Dean.
Absolutely.
Whichever way you go, there's a fee, there isn't a fee, whatever. The important thing is that the math works for you.
Yep.
And I can tell you that some of the online store platforms, they charge a percentage of the sale. And if, let's say, you're really super busy, that could be a hefty number. But if it's saving you money because your employees don't have to do something, okay, it actually pays for itself, right?
Absolutely.
So the important thing is that you get the information and you look at it judiciously to make sure it works for you, right? And there's lots of Facebook posters and stuff about this online store works, this one doesn't, whatever. I think it's important that you get the facts for yourself to see how it works with your business, that you just don't believe people out there. I think that's really important with anything, with a printer, with ink, with online stores, with software. I think it's important that you do the taste test yourself. Yep. Because you're your own business. You know what you need. You know what works for you with your employees or your customers, right? So because somebody else's opinion is just their opinion, it might not work for you, right?
Correct.
All right. Anything else, guys? You guys are watching. What are some new directions that you guys might be interested in? Is there anything that you're about to try? I think that might be interesting.
That would be interesting to hear. Absolutely.
All right. And while we're waiting on that, we got one final topic, which is you must be present to win. Okay. So how many people do you think went to that trade show? 40,000?
Yeah, I didn't even hear numbers. The original pre-sign up numbers I heard were slightly less than 2020, which was the last real big pre-COVID show. And that's because I think some international did not come as much.
Okay. Right. Okay. So,
but it was minimal. I didn't hear exact numbers.
Let's just say there were 40,000 people.
Yep.
Okay. So guess what? Are there more than 40,000 decorators in the US? You bet.
Way more. Absolutely.
Okay. So that means most of the people didn't go. Most of the people stayed home.
Yep.
Most of the people didn't take a class. Most of the people didn't go to a networking thing. Most of the people didn't go to the Shirt Lab Tribe Mastermind dinner or the Rock the Boat event where they got to hear Everclear really loud or whatever, right? Most people didn't do those things, okay? And let me tell you, you missed it. You missed an opportunity. And, you know, Long Beach will come around next year. And, of course, there's other trade shows going on, okay? But I think that the fortuitous thing is just meeting people at the weird moment. I can tell you from my own experience, just this past week, I went to the Rock the Boat event, which was a really fun thing, but they had it at this boat down at the pier, and I couldn't find it. There weren't really any signs. I'm walking around looking. Some other dude was walking around looking. Hey, are you going to this thing? Yeah, me too. Where is it? I don't know. Let's head this way. And we started talking as we're walking down the dock. I had a call with that guy on Tuesday. We might be working together, right?
Perfect.
So I wouldn't have met him if I didn't go.
Yep.
And so you don't meet people unless you go to things where people go, right? So this is the reason why you go to chamber events. This is the reason why you go to trade shows. This is the reason why you take a class. This is the reason why you hang out on here with our show, right? Is an opportunity to network with like-minded people who have similar interests. And I think you need to be present to win, right? So that's kind of like the reason why I want to talk about that, right? And so if you weren't there, like for example, our Shirt Lab Mastermind dinner, right? We only had like 35 people there.
Right.
You didn't hear that discussion. And which was an amazing discussion. You didn't hear all that stuff. So you lost out, right? And
that was the big discussion. What about the small ones that were going on during dinner, just sitting there eating and before?
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah. So you gotta show up, right? So that's the reason why you take a class. That's the reason why you network. That's the reason why you go to the trade show and stop by the booth and stick out your hand and say, "Hey, Alan, I'm so-and-so. It's good to meet you."
Yep.
Like that guy did where,
From Rhode Island. Yep.
From Rhode Island, right? And so let me tell you, after I teach a class, there's 30 minutes of people wanting to,
Absolutely.
ask a question or something. And so we always stick around, right? And make time for that. So I think it's really important. And so the reason I'm saying that is sometime soon, there's going to be a trade show or a networking event or a conference that your customers are doing or whatever. You need to get out of your shop and you need to go. You need to make time for it.
Josh Ellsworth just said Mastermind dinner was excellent. It was a great time. Marshall hosted it. And Marshall, we got to say something. The barbecue master. Man, steaks. I didn't have the steak. I had chicken. It was incredible, though. And I heard the steaks were spot on.
Yeah, well, I running a grill is a passion.
Yeah.
So, what's funny is I think I'm okay, right? I know people who are way better than me, but I still like doing it. And I'm always asking questions, just like if I'm a printer trying to find out how to do something. It's like, what do you do? what's the rub, how long, what's the tool, so anyway, all right, so some comments. James posted this thing. So we're finding that Printavo and QuickBooks integration to be very limiting. So we're currently looking for ways to extract data from Printavo into a dashboard for employees to see live progress, goals, target sales, marketing. Curious how shops like data would deal with it. Thinking about Monday.com, Zapier, and then something else that can make data visual and be able to make reports. Hey, James, can I suggest production tracker? Okay. Absolutely. So I have an app that extracts data from Printavo, also Monday.com or Shopworks, that you can visualize the data for production, for sales, for screen room, all that kind of stuff. Why don't you send me your info? And here's my email right here. And I will get you hooked up with the guys, and you can get a free trial for a month, and you can play around with it. So anyway, so there you go. Let's take that off. And Keith says steak was amazing. Thanks, Keith.
Yep. So you're seeing the people. I was there. Josh Ellsworth was there. Keith was there. It was incredible. Ellie Van Holzer, who I know hosted it with you. You guys just did a great job. And Josh Wiley was there. Just incredible.
Yeah. Steaks were fantastic, and the comment was great. And by the way, Josh, thank you for your really kind email you sent me. That was good. Dean says it's a key to success. ABL, always be learning. Networking is the best way to do it. Nothing like face-to-face. Well worth your time. Exactly.
And you know what? Even things like this, we do this every week, Marshall. How much better is it when we get to meet these people face to face?
Oh, it's like a million times better, right? So 100%. I remember Fort Worth. We got to meet Al King, right? That was fun, right? And see him online all the time, but never met the guy ever, right? So, you just
and you and I knew each other.
By the way, if Alan and I are together or we're doing something and we look like we're having a conversation, and you don't want to interrupt. Please come up and interrupt.
It's usually about something stupid.
Knowing us, it is about something stupid.
Yeah, we're complaining. We're being grouchy old men. So, and you know what, Marshall? That's how you and I met. We knew each other. We started talking through Twitter and stuff and said, hey, let's get together. And it was a Long Beach show.
Yeah, right. That's what you do.
Yep, it's called networking.
I invited you to my class.
Yep, exactly. And I showed up.
Yeah, and then I made fun of you. So.
And I made animal noises and back. And you know what? Sat there with John Lynch from Poland.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. So met him from Linka in Poland.
Yeah, right. So so it's fun though. I've been teaching classes for a really long time, and I know you have also. And there's a reason we do it. I mean, it's fun to teach the class, but a lot of it is just about getting the information out, right?
Yep,
and
absolutely.
So, all right, where are we on time? We're almost up, right? So, any last minute thoughts about the show or anything, Alan?
Well, you know what? I'm still digging out from it. It has been nonstop since I've been back. And you know what? We have Atlantic City coming up.
We have Atlantic City coming up, and
about a month.
I'm not going to that show. I just said
you
have to be present to win, and I'm not going.
Oh, I thought you were. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
It's this year. I'm opting not to. I'll be at Fort Worth, but I'm not going to Atlantic City. It's so difficult to get there from here, and maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know, but I'll be in Fort Worth, which I think you're not going to because you're going to the Philippines.
Fort Worth is
during your Philippines trip.
In Impressions, Fort Worth?
Yeah. No, the Graphics Pro show.
I leave for Asia February 23rd. I come back second week in March.
Yeah. I think that show is that time.
Yeah, probably won't be there then.
Yeah. We can't be in two places at once.
No.
I could make a big fat head of your head and walk it around like on a stick.
Well, you did that last time I was in Asia when Yeah, you guys.
Well, that wasn't me. That was Sean, right?
Sean's a bad man.
Yeah, he can send that to me, right?
Right.
All right.
Again, Impressions Atlantic City is their second largest show. And it is in the most populated part of the country. So if you have missed it, that's the one to go to.
Yeah, it's okay. So a lot of people, it's a timing thing or whatever, you know. So
I'll be there. You can find me at the Easy Way booth, and yeah.
Well, I mean, I went to, I don't know, 7 or 8 trade shows last year. I don't remember. I didn't really count, but I went to a lot. So and here's the other thing is there's an expense that, you know, let's face it, we don't really get money back. Right. So you know, there's that too.
Yeah, I think I'm going to miss DAX Kansas City too, which I usually do.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so Dean, hey, thanks. Hope to meet all our Printing United in Atlanta. I'll be there. I already got my hotel room. Very excited about that show. So we'll see. All right. So everyone have a really great weekend, and I will hopefully talk to you guys later. And James, send me your info so I could get you set up with Production Tracker. We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching.
If anybody has questions, email us, contact us.
All right. Well, thanks, and we'll see you guys next week.
Have a great weekend.